Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how I made my paper cutting Last Jedi shadow box, which is a relatively easier box than the stuff I usually make. Um, because all that happened for this one was I was rewatching the movie. I got to the scene where Luke steps out to confront Kylo Ren, and I thought, this looks really cool, and it would look great as a shadow box. So I just took a screen capture from that moment and basically traced it exactly as it was. And the only added details that I needed to do is that in the screen capture from the movie, um, it's very sharp contrast. It's mostly shadows already, so you can't see a lot of details on the ATM6s especially, so I needed to look up a bunch of references to make sure I was drawing them correctly. And I needed to pick, as always, which lines to include and which when to just leave the shapes straightforward. But yeah, so the creative process for this one was a bit more straightforward than what I usually do. I found out that these weren't AT-ATs, by the way, when doing a bit of research, because I wanted to make sure I was copying the right model. So they're ATM6. And honestly, I don't know how different they are from AT-ATs, and I don't know if you can tell the difference when you just look at what I'm making here. But and I did my best trying to copy. I couldn't trace anything from this because all the machines in the scene in the screenshots are they're faced at slightly different angles. They kind of make an almost semicircle in front of Luke. So I needed to do a lot of guesswork to figure out how they work. You're gonna see me redraw a lot of them, but hopefully they don't look too bad. And I also didn't want them to. I didn't want to overcomplicate them either, because I kind of like um the blocks of shadows in that scene. So I didn't want too many details to distract from the general feel of the scene. So as you're watching me draw these, I was also looking for ways to let you know what the shape was like, but not draw like every nut and bolt and then cut everything out. And yeah, it would have distracted the attention too much, I feel. When this is like a nice, simple hero shot, like the lone hero facing off against like a bunch of enemies, and sometimes that's all you need. And it's really effective in the movie, and I think it would look quite well in paper cutting form as well. I had to cheat where the ship was a bit there, because in the actual shot, the ship is like hovering in the sky, and I had to shift it slightly upwards, because it had to be tied to something. I couldn't like. The other option, I guess, is that I could have left it hovering exactly where it was and then cut out two like thin strips of paper to like let it dangle where it was supposed to be. But again, I felt like that would have been distracting and it would have looked probably a little silly, which is not the feel I was going for this one. You're also going to see me add a bunch of like compared to the layers I've already cut as I'm going, because I wasn't sure where to place the ground, like the horizon line, whatever that's called. Because there's the ground is very flat in that image, so I couldn't do like rolling hills or what I usually do to give the background, just to make the background easier for me. So I had to make sure that the ground kind of lined up with the previous layers, but also that it was like slightly higher every time, so that you still got that impression of depth. Because I think how many I think I had something like 4 layers. So, and if I did 4 layers of ground exactly in the same place, it would have looked a little weird, like a little too dark when shadows overlap too much. Again, measuring my distances, I think I messed up one of these. Like, I think that one was I made that one a bit too short compared to my original plan, but that's the kind of detail that I sort of I make a mental note of it. I think, oh, I'll need to work on that next time I do something like that. But I don't think it's too distracting from the rest. It's just like the little details that I'm the only one to notice. What was also nice about cutting so many ATM6s is like by the end I got pretty good at which line to make thick, which line to ignore, and as they get smaller as well, there's slightly less details to add. So like, but by the end, I didn't even need to think about what I was doing. Like I got it already. I'd made how many are there? Like 6, 7 that you can see. And this overall took me a lot less time than my boxes usually do. I think all in all, including drawing time, this just took me about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, compared to my usual projects that usually take me like a good 10 hours to complete or something. So this was a nice and like a straightforward yet really effective one. So, trust directors of photography to just like give you really nice scenes to work with. And the shape you're seeing in the middle there is the you can see hints of the drill that they're using in the shot, and you at that point you can't really make out what it is. You can't really there are no details in it whatsoever. It's just like a weird round shape in the background, but I decided to include it just because it adds a bit more what do you call it? Like some volume to the horizon instead of just one straight line. And hopefully it's not gonna look like a house to anyone. Although, like, I'm gonna assume people who get that box will also have seen the movie and they know exactly what's happening. That's the advantage of doing fan art. And as always, this is the cutting foam strips that I'm pasting at the back of each layer to space them out and again create that sense of depth. It was also fun to use that format because it's completely a movie format. It's a very rectangular, which meant like, yeah, you're gonna see my board just slide back because I'm not used to cutting such long strips, and my desk can be a little slippery, so cutting something this long means I'm putting more pressure as I'm cutting, which means like I'm sending my easel just flying as I'm cutting these. But yeah, that movie format, movie image format, just meant that it was a much more rectangular frame as well. So when I made the frame, I also felt like I was just literally printing a still from the movie, which was kind of it was fun. I had fun making this one. There's the frame in question, and I really struggled at that bit. I cut out a lot of it, so you're not gonna see it, but like I kept having little flecks of paint falling onto the glass I kept having to take out my layers, clean the glass, try again. Oh no, there's another speck. Take them out again. That was weirdly the most frustrating part of this box, is just keeping the glass clean. But there you go, there's the finished product. It's like, as I said before, it's simple yet really effective, and you really get, because Luke is so big in the foreground, he really takes the center focus. And because he's in the foreground as well, his shadow is slightly darker than the rest, because that's how it works in shadow boxes. Like the frame that's further away from the light is the frame that's going to be the darkest. So he really stands out quite nicely in front of those machines. So yeah, sometimes that's all you need to do. Just take a cool image and go to town. So there you go. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in buying this box, follow the link in the description to my Etsy shop. You can also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook, although I'm not there very often. And follow this channel for more how-to videos. Bye!